Eala versus Magdalena Frey. It's a first-round matchup over in Rome for 2026. Both players have had interesting seasons so far. Frey entered the tournament as the number 45 in the world, with a 10-win, 11-loss season so far. Her best result was actually making the final of a hardcourt event back in February in Merida, where she lost to Bookshire in a close 3-setter. Her best win, however, came in Doha, where she took out Samsonova, who was number 17 in the world at the time. Her worst loss was actually in Doha qualifying before she got a lucky loser to play the event, where she lost to Zvonareva, who was 580 in the world at the time. Her form hasn't been great. She hasn't won a clay court match yet, and she's actually on a 5-match losing streak, dating back to that final in Merida. So, yeah, really needs some form. Hasn't won a match since February. Eala entered the tournament as the number 42 in the world, with a 16-win, 11-loss season so far. The best result was making the quarterfinals in that 1,000 event in Dubai, ending up losing to Goff in the end in straight sets. But her best win actually came at Indian Wells a month later, where she took out Goff, number 4 in the world at the time. Her worst loss is still that loss against Parks at the Australian Open, who was 99 in the world at the time. Her form hasn't been great on the clay, but she did get a win last week in Madrid before losing to Mertens, so she should like her chances here. These two haven't played before, so first time meeting, and it's a really important meeting as well, because the winner of this match will take on Wong, who's the 31st seed, and then potentially Rybakina in the third round, so really good opportunity here for both ladies to try and...
Let me tell you something that stopped the tennis world cold this week. Not a rumor, not a hot take, not some analyst trying to grab attention before a big match. We're talking about coaches, data scientists, and insiders who have spent their entire careers studying this sport. People who choose their words very carefully, all landing on the exact same terrifying conclusion. So if you've got 2 minutes to spare, stay with me, because what's about to unfold on that court is something you genuinely need to understand before it happens. The matchup is Alexandra Eala, 20 years old, Filipino, and already looking like she was built in a laboratory, against Leylah Fernandez, the Canadian star who made the entire world fall in love with her during that unforgettable US Open run. On paper, it sounds like a fascinating generational showdown. But when the smartest minds in tennis actually sit down and break it apart, the picture they see isn't a battle at all. They're calling it a 30-minute demolition. And the more you dig into the details, the harder it becomes to argue with them. Here's where it all starts. And this is the part that genuinely changes everything. Leylah Fernandez built her career on being left-handed. That's not a small thing. In women's tennis, a southpaw competitor has a natural tactical advantage that most right-handed players never truly solve. The serve kicks out wide into uncomfortable angles. The cross-court forehand attacks a right-hander's backhand. The ball spins differently, bounces differently, and forces opponents into patterns they don't practice against every single week. That left-handed edge is exactly what carried Fernandez through the toughest draws in the sport. It's what made her a giant killer at Arthur Ashe Stadium. But the moment Alexandra Eala walks onto that court, all of it disappears. Because Eala is also left-handed. And not just casually left-handed. She's been training against left-handed competitors at the highest level, at the Rafael Nadal Academy in Mallorca, Spain. She doesn't get confused by the spin. She doesn't drift into the wrong position. She knows exactly where that ball is going, and she knows exactly how to punish it. The signature weapon Fernandez has relied on her entire career simply ceases to exist. It's like watching someone pull the thread on a sweater. The whole thing starts to unravel almost immediately. Now strip away the tactical advantage, and what are you actually left with? A direct physical confrontation between two completely different kinds of players. And this is where the biomechanics tell a brutal story. Eala doesn't just hit the tennis ball hard. She hits it in a way that fundamentally breaks the timing of her opponents. The topspin she generates, a direct product of years training under Nadal Academy coaches, produces a ball that clears the net, drops sharply, and then kicks aggressively high up into the strike zone. It's not the kind of shot you redirect. With clever angles, it physically forces you backward, pulls you off balance, and demands raw upper body strength to manage. Fernandez's entire game is built on the opposite philosophy. She is small, fast, and absolutely brilliant at reading pace and redirecting it. Her sweet spot is catching the ball early, right off the bounce, at hip height, turning her opponent's power against them. She is a timing genius. She is not, however, someone built to absorb a ball that jumps to shoulder height on every third rally shot. When Eala's forehand starts kicking that high, Fernandez gets pushed back. When she gets pushed back, her shots become shorter. When her shots land shorter, Eala steps inside the baseline and puts them away. The analysts have run this sequence over and over again in simulation, and the conclusion is always the same. It's not a competitive exchange. It's a pattern that leads in one direction, and then there's the second serve. This is the detail that truly seals it. In modern professional tennis, a weak second serve isn't just a liability, it's an open invitation. Fernandez's second delivery is slow, sits up in the strike zone, and normally drags right-handed opponents wide using that southpaw slice spin. Against a right-hander, this is a safety valve. Against Eala's left-handed forehand, that spin goes directly into her most powerful shot. Eala can step 2 full steps inside the baseline, load up, and do real damage before the point even starts. When that happens consistently, Fernandez's first serve starts carrying unbearable pressure, and that's when the double faults begin to pile up at the worst possible moments. The psychological arc of this match, according to the experts, follows a very specific and very painful pattern. The first few games will be shock. Fernandez will walk out expecting her usual advantages and find none of them waiting for her. Her best shots will come back harder. Her serve will be attacked. Her margin for error will shrink every single rally. And once she feels that, the natural human response is to start pressing, going for riskier lines, attempting drop shots from too far back, trying to force something that isn't there. Against an elite defender who just keeps coming, that desperation tennis generates errors at an alarming rate, and Eala won't back off. She'll see the body language shift and she'll accelerate. The crowd is also going to play a role here that shouldn't be underestimated. We've watched this phenomenon in Rome, in Madrid, in arenas around the world. When the Filipino fan base shows up for one of their own, the atmosphere transforms completely. Every missed serve from Fernandez will draw a noise from the crowd that gets under your skin. Every unforced error feels amplified. For a player already fighting to survive tactically, performing in what amounts to a hostile environment adds another weight that's genuinely hard to carry. Eala, meanwhile, enters this match with nothing to fear and everything to gain, the kind of freedom that makes young players dangerous. The experts have also looked at the conditioning numbers, and this is important context if the match somehow extends beyond those first 30 minutes. Eala has spent years grinding on clay in Mallorca, the most physically demanding training surface in the world. Her stamina is exceptional. She hits her heaviest, deepest shots in the third hour of a match with the same intensity she brings in the opening game. Fernandez, for all her brilliance and athleticism, relies on short explosive bursts. If Eala keeps pushing her deep, forces her to cover more ground every single point, and extends the rally length consistently, the physical gap becomes visible, and it becomes visible quickly. This match matters well beyond the result on the EA scoreboard. For years, women's tennis has been dominated by the same core group at the top. Sabalenka, Rybakina, and Swiatek have controlled the majors and the big events, while a new generation has been knocking on the door. What the experts are saying is that a performance like the one Eala is projected to deliver, dismantling a former Grand Slam finalist quickly and convincingly, would function as a formal announcement to the entire locker room. Coaches of top 10 players will be studying every frame. The question they'll be asking is whether there are exploitable gaps in her game. Based on what analysts are currently seeing, they won't find many. Her serve is disguised and accurate. Her forehand generates elite topspin. Her backhand is reliable under pressure and can create sharp angles. Her movement allows her to transition from deep defense to aggressive offense faster than almost anyone on tour. She was forged at 1. of the most demanding academies in the world, under coaches who have produced multiple Grand Slam champions. She is not an accident. She is a product of an extremely deliberate process, and the commercial picture that follows a performance like this is enormous. Southeast Asian tennis viewership is one of the fastest-growing demographics in the sport. A dominant Filipino champion commands attention from broadcasters, sponsors, and tournament directors in ways that reshape scheduling and marketing around the entire circuit. Every time Eala wins convincingly on a big stage, that market grows. That influence expands. The sport reaches corners of the globe it has never properly touched before. So that's where we are heading into this match. The experts have spoken. The data has been analyzed. The physical matchup has been broken down shot by shot, and the psychological timeline has been mapped out game by game. The tactical picture, the physical picture, and the mental picture all point in the same direction. A 30-minute performance that the tennis world will be talking about long after the final point is played. What we don't know yet is whether Leylah Fernandez has something hidden. She has been in massive moments before. She has silenced rooms full of doubters before. Big match experience is a real currency in this sport, and she has more of it than almost anyone in her generation. Counterpunchers have a habit of finding something in the chaos when the pressure is highest. So tell me, what do you see happening? Do the numbers and the tactical breakdown convince you? Or do you think Fernandez's composure and experience gives her a path through? Drop your take in the comments right now. I want to read every single one. And if you're not subscribed yet, hit that button. Because when this match goes down, we're going to break down every single moment in real time. You do not want to miss it. Do not want to miss it.